The Guardians of Baba Vida, Vidin, Bulgaria, late 13th century. In the waning light of dusk, Baba Vida Fortress stood like a grim sentinel on the banks of the Danube River. Its thick stone walls, weathered by years of siege and bloodshed, were home to an ancient duty, one forged in loyalty and blood. Whispers of the wind carried tales of soldiers who had vowed to protect the stronghold, not just in life, but beyond death. The year was 1297, and Vidin was under siege. The Mongols had swept through Europe like a plague, and now their black banners cast long shadows on the plains outside the fortress. Inside, the last hope of the Bulgarian Tsar rested in the hands of Commander Cayman and his band of soldiers. Hardened by battle, these men had sworn to defend the fortress to their last breath. But it was more than just duty that kept them vigilant. It was the presence of Vida, the noblewoman after whom the fortress was named. Legend said Vida had been cursed after refusing to marry a string of suitors, choosing instead to build and protect this mighty fortress. Her stern visage still haunted the halls, her legacy etched in the very stones that towered above them. One night, as the Mongol horde gathered for what seemed to be their final assault, Cayman stood at the battlements, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. A chill ran down his spine as he gazed into the mist that rolled in from the river. The whispers of the wind grew louder, almost human. The attack came swiftly, arrows cutting through the air like death's messengers, yet something unnatural unfolded that night. As the enemy breached the gates, Commander Cayman ordered his men to fight to the death, knowing full well they were outnumbered. But as steel clashed against steel, an eerie silence fell. The Mongols, who had broken through the first gate, suddenly stopped, as if gripped by an unseen force. Cayman turned to see shadowy figures emerging from the depths of the fortress. They were soldiers, but not of flesh and bone. Their armor shimmered like moonlight, and their eyes glowed faintly with the pale blue hue of death. These were the ghostly guardians of Baba Vida, long-dead soldiers who had once sworn loyalty to the fortress and its noble protector Vida. They had risen from their graves to protect the fortress once more. With terrifying precision, the spectral soldiers charged at the invaders, cutting through them like phantoms of vengeance. The Mongols screamed, not from the pain of their wounds, but from sheer terror as they were dragged into the shadows, their souls torn from their bodies. Cayman and his remaining men watched in awe, their swords frozen in mid-air. The dead had returned to fight, and no one knew why. As dawn broke, the Mongols retreated, leaving behind only a few survivors. The fortress had been saved, but at what cost? That night, Cayman dreamed of Vida. She appeared to him, her once beautiful face now gaunt and hollow, her eyes filled with sorrow.
"You and your men are bound to this place now, as I am,"
she said, her voice echoing as if spoken from the depths of a grave.
"I was cursed to protect this fortress for eternity, and now you shall join me. Your men, your souls, will defend Baba Vida even in death."
Cayman woke with a start, his heart racing. He looked around to find his comrades alive, but their faces pale, their eyes hollow. They, too, had been marked by the curse. For years, no enemy dared to approach Baba Vida. The legend of the ghostly guardian spread far and wide, keeping the fortress safe. But inside, the men were no longer the same. They grew colder, more detached from the world of the living. Every night, they felt the pull of the curse drawing them closer to death, until finally, they succumbed. But they did not leave. Just as the soldiers before them had risen, so did Cayman and his men. Now they too were bound to the fortress, their spectral forms forever patrolling its walls, guarding it from intruders. They no longer fought for glory, for honor, or for the Tsar. They fought because they had no choice. Their souls were shackled to Baba Vida, cursed to defend it for all eternity. Centuries have passed since that fateful siege, and Baba Vida still stands, a relic of the past. Tourists come and go, marveling at its ancient stones. unaware of the restless spirits that dwell within. On rare nights, when the mist rolls in from the Danube and the wind whispers through the cracks in the stone, some say you can still see them, the ghostly guardians of Baba Vida. But beware, for those who come with ill intent, who seek to desecrate the fortress or exploit its secrets, may find themselves face to face with the spectral soldiers, and once they have set their sights on you, there is no escape. Or the guardians of Baba Vida will protect their fortress until the end of time,